Sagittarius, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late July, moving into early August 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Sagittarius collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Saggies here in late July, early August? We are at the early stages of Leo season, my good friends, and it's gorgeous. But let's see what energies, messages, insights we could take a peek at. And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, and we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Saggy. Late July, early August. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's have ourselves a good time today, my friends. We're going to have some fun reading through these cards. Cool. So this card doesn't come out often, and I love the imagery because I feel like it's very potent and poignant. And the themes behind it do connect heavily towards energetic exchange and energetic attachments. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the July subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this shirtless dude chilling right there. We have a lady that looks like she's coming out of the mirror, and not like that horror story. It looks like these two people are at a distance, right? That's kind of what this image implies, where it's like people that are separate. And again, we're not just going to focus this only on personal connections and relationships, even though this is a huge card, personal connections and relationships, people that we care about. I like to bring it to the realm of energetic chords and energetic exchange. Now, I'm a big believer when someone is important to us and we're important to them, or anyone that we deal with, there's a certain level of energetic exchange, right? Where it's like you're sending energy, they're sending energy. There's a lot of unseen energetic traffic that we're ping-ponging back and forth. So whether this is someone that it's like you feel what they feel, you think what they think, there's like a lot of synchronicities involving that with this card. But this card can also be spirit saying like, hey, just pay attention to who, what, where, when, why you're sending energy to certain things, right? Sometimes this card asks us to focus on something a little more, or maybe focus less on something as well. I'm even a believer that like certain places could have energetic attachments to us. So it's just something to keep in mind. We're not going to overtalk it, even though this is one of those cards where I feel like we can speak about this for like 40 minutes if we wanted to. But we're just going to let them chill right there. They're having a very special moment, it looks like. All right, they're on FaceTime. Let's get tarot going. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for my beautiful Saggies. What's happening? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So last week I was picking up a very strong magnetism around the Sagittarius collective. The reading was titled Here They Come. And it's like I'm pulling this to me and that to me. I'm pulling this experience in. It's like I'm creating this. I'm not even realizing it. So just know, even for the coming weeks, this energy could bleed over, where it's like certain people might pop up out of the woodwork. Certain situations might pop up out of the blue. It's like I'm creating things quickly. So even if that hasn't been materializing for you yet, just watch out, because the energy was super magnetic last week. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for my Saggy friends. What's happening in late July? All right, Lady Justice. Cool. Like her, balanced, usually. So we're going to get her tucked in right here by the amethyst. Let's see what Lady Justice has to say for herself. Thank you. Okay, 5 of Pentacles. Okay, like give, take, up, down. It's already giving me that kind of vibe here. Which again, that's life. Let's get one more. Okay. Yeah, very earthy vibe, which again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like usually for Saggy energy, too much earth can be a little frustrating. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that's important and lays a good foundation for us. And we have very earthy, predominant type of energy with a little bit of air showing up, which Again, that could work very well for Sagittarius. Now, when it comes to air energy, that's logical, pragmatic. It's about the facts. It's, very intelligent. It's about intellectual stimulation as well. So when I see the air, that is the suit of communication because it's about giving or receiving information. I like air. It's also about perspective and how we're viewing things or how other people are as well. The only downside to air is that sometimes it could be a little too cold and clinical. Sometimes it could overthink. It's very cerebral in its way of thinking. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. On the back end, we have the earth, right, which takes up the most of the energy we're picking up so far. Now, when I see earth, I think of results. I think of routine. I think of day to day life. Every day at this time, I do this. It's a very structured type of energy. It could represent home and family, work, money, business, career. All the material aspects of life fall under this umbrella. So, I mean, some of you might just be in pentacle mode, right? Or maybe you're just consumed with a lot of things that are happening around you with like material aspects to it. The downside to the earth energy, especially for a fire sign like us, is that sometimes it could frustrate us. It's not a very fast moving energy. Sometimes it could be very stubborn. Sometimes it could even feel stuck. So it's just something to keep an eye on as we move further through the reading. But we should be all right. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we start with the beautiful Lady Justice. Nice. Now, this is a Libra card, so if you're connected to Libra, this might be them showing up right here. But what else do we know about Lady Justice? She could represent decisions, choices. Am I going to do this or am I going to do that? It's like a nice balanced energy where it's like I'm weighing the pros and cons. I'm making a list of positives and negatives. So that's just something to be aware of. There might be certain things or situations where spirit could be saying like, hey, hold on, weigh the pros and cons before you move further. But Lady Justice herself can also represent legalities. And yeah, she has a lot of things that connects to her card. So whether it's contracts, whether it's agreements, anything that you're putting your signature on, just be extra careful when Lady Justice shows up because she does deal with those like fine print. So especially with agreements. Now, Lady Justice, aside from the decision making and that, like she is a very karmic card, right? She has the sword of truth and she's just like, I'm gonna make this right. So sometimes when I see her, it could represent the universe, right? Moving things along. And I'm a believer that we're all creator beings, that we all manifest, and there's certain things that reality reflects back to us. But I am also a believer that there are certain things, certain situations that we are meant to experience. So I'm just going to leave her here, very karmic in nature. And that's a whole topic in and of itself. Now, moving to the center, we have the Five of Pentacles. This card to me is not the nicest, right? I guess it depends. Like you see the people, they're out there in the cold. Yes, it could represent a problem or a situation. Sometimes this could represent isolation or loneliness, feeling like you're alone. Um, Worst case scenario, sometimes it could represent abandonment. But we could just call it a problem or a situation that's not very pleasant. We could just keep it at that. It doesn't always have to be worst case scenario. The sky isn't always falling. It's just unpleasant. I'll put it like that. Now, the good thing about the Five of Pentacles is the temporary nature to it, where it's like, okay, this is just a bump in the road. The pros, the cons, the ups, the downs, the dark, the light. So this could be like something retracting when we see this here. So we'll keep an eye on it, but there is a temporary nature to it, especially with justice right next to it, because it's like, okay, I'll balance these scales, Sag. Don't worry. Watch me work. I'm already picking that up a little bit here because justice also deals with fairness and equality. Now, here on the back end, we have the Seven of Pentacles. We see our friend here being very patient. He's standing there by the bush while these pentacles grow, while they come to, fruition, if that makes sense. Now, this card could represent things like nature and gardening, spending time refreshing your energy that way. But it is a card of patience where it's like, okay, something will eventually pay off or the wait will be worth it. Maybe there's certain things you're waiting to hear back from. Maybe someone you're connected to is in a wait and see mode. That could definitely be the case with this card. The downside to the Seven of Pentacles is the fact that it could become very impatient. It could feel like nothing's changing. It could feel like, all right, well, what are we doing now? There's something I want to do. I'm getting very frustrated. So, like, this energy here on the back end does feel a little clunky. But another important thing, it is also a karmic card, right? This is an energy of reaping what you sow. What you put forth, you get back in return. So, when we have these two cards in the same part of the main spread, it's like, okay, there's a lot of universal energy at play. So whether it's a situation, whether it's a shift of energy, whether it's a universe taking the wheel with something, it could all be in play. I want to dive deeper on all of it, Saggy. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. What do we got for our Saggy friends? What's happening? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot. Because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. What's going on, Lady Justice? Let's see what she has. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Saggy, drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, what is happening with Lady Justice? What is she doing here? Thank you. Okay. So we have the Two of Wands, which is very strategic, very planned out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Not sure if I've seen this for you in recent weeks, but it always reminds me of the scales, right? Because it's like I could take this path or I could take that path. It feels like a loading screen to me for some reason. And I mean, maybe I'm showing my age here, but way back in the day when internet wasn't as fast as it is now, and it's like you would click something and then there's like a loading bar. That's kind of how this energy feels to me, where it's like I'm waiting on something to download, I'm waiting on something to upload, I'm waiting on this to finish. So that's very unique. So I'm not sure what processes you might be going through, I'm not sure what you or someone else might be waiting on, but that's how this energy is feeling to me, aside from the strategy and planning. Now, I am still getting these karmic undertones, because with this, it's like, all right, well, which path is right? Which path do I choose? So aside from that whole loading screen tangent I went on right there, the karmic energy is in play, and I really want to see what's going on here. Is this the universe taking the wheel? Is the universe ever going to take the wheel and balance this thing out? Is someone going to catch a dose of karma? Am I meant to just experience this period of time? Like, all of these questions are playing in my head. Like, even if things don't seem to be moving, yeah, there's just this really peculiar energy that I'm picking up this week. And I don't want to say it makes me feel unsettled, but I don't even want to say it makes me feel disgruntled, but it's like there's a disturbance in the force. Like I feel something. I feel something loading, if that makes sense. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. It's, how I said last week, there's like this magnetic energy, and it's like this is coming in, this is coming in, this is coming in. This is like, okay, I'm just waiting on this energy to come in. It's loading. Let's keep going. I don't want to go off on too many tangents, but there's a lot of underlying energy this week. So maybe you're dealing with some situations that are more complex than what people would think, where there's a lot more moving parts. From the outside looking in, it seems simple, but when you're on the inside looking out, it's like you have no idea how complex this is. Let's go in on the Five of Pentacles. Let's go in on that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so we have the Seven of Wands in the upright underneath it. Now, this is absolutely an energy that will try to force power its way through something, which, again, listen, I'm a fire sign. I get it. Sometimes with things or situations, it's like, hey, there's only one way to go, and that's through it. Can't go around it, can't sidestep it, just got to go through it. And that's how this kind of feels to me. So this is someone with a problem or a situation, whereas this one on the front might be avoiding or might be waiting, letting things play out. This one is like, screw it, I don't like this, I'm moving forward. Like it's an energy that's just pushing through. So again, watch out for various problems, things, situations, because yeah, we've got the double seven showing up here too. Let's talk about it. The Seven of Wands, we see this person, they're like up there on top of the wall, fending a bunch of people off. In the good sense, this is very determined. Right. So when I see it under the Five of Pentacles, it's like, okay, I want this unpleasant thing to be over. I'm just going to bite the bullet and cut through it. There's only one way to solve it, and that's head on. That's how this energy is presenting to me. Now, again, I'm not saying to you, it could be somebody else, but this is like a head on approach that I'm picking up. Now, for others, aside from the determination, yes, this could be that energy where it's like, oh, I'm feeling a little unsettled about this. Like it's something that's not sitting right with me. So whether it's a situation, whether it's how someone was acting, I don't know. It's like an energy where it's like, it just doesn't sit right with me. It's like, I can't logically make sense of it. And for some reason, I keep going off on these energetic tangents, which tells me that some of you might be going through some complex things. We're going to keep going. Let's see what's up with the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, super unique. And now we're getting all this fire along the bottom. So why is the Seven of Pentacles here? Maybe we'll get a little more information. So why is the Seven of Pentacles here? Thank you. Okay. So I don't know why this energy seems like it's taking notes. I'm not sure if that's you. I'm not. It could even be the universe, for all I know. So we have the Page of Swords, the Watcher, the Tarot deck, right underneath the Seven of Pentacles, where it's like I'm going to wait, I'm going to observe, and I'm going to make a checklist. I'm going to make a list, and I'm going to figure this out. It's like somebody keeping score. So I would say in this time, especially with all this karmic energy that we've been picking up, I would say some of you might be going through some karmic situations or periods of life where you know, even if it's unpleasant, maybe it is pleasant for some of you. It's like, no, you were meant to experience this thing. Like you're on the right path. You were meant to experience something in particular. But even if we are to bring the scope down a little bit, with all this energy loading up front, now the Seven of Pentacles with the Page of Swords, this could absolutely be spirit saying like, hey, I'm going to take the wheel and I'm going to solve this. It could absolutely be karma getting served up to somebody, right? So, but it's like I'm keeping track. So, are you keeping track of something, or do you have a mental checklist? Is this someone keeping track of things you're doing? That could be potential as well. It's like I'm making a list and I'm checking it twice, and I know it ain't Christmas time, but that's just how it feels to me. So maybe it's the universe just like keeping score. And at some point, these scales will come in and balance out. So let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadows. So there's a lot of different energetic tangents this week. So only take what hits for you. Watch out for things that make you feel a little scrambled. But if you kindly look in the box, position one, we have Lady Justice, Two of Wands, and for some odd reason, that felt like a loading screen to me, where it's like, okay, just waiting on this to load. We did have the karmic energy balancing as well. So again, just maybe there's certain things where it was just meant to happen a certain way. Moving to the middle, we have the Five of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and that does feel like a situation or problem potentially. But to me, it feels like somebody going head on, where it's like, I can't go around it, I can't avoid it, let's attack it. So it's an energy that wants to just handle business. Like it's very amped up to do that. But it could also be a very temporary type of thing where it's like, all right, this isn't going to hold me down, but there's just something that's not sitting right with me. So whether it's someone's actions, a situation, it's like, yeah, no, I don't feel right about this. The disturbance in the force, like I said in the beginning. Here on the back end, we have the Seven of Pentacles with the Page of Swords. To me, it felt like someone making a list for some reason, keeping score. So whether that's you or somebody else, it's like I'm observing, I'm watching, and I'm making a note for some reason. So for some of you, it might be advice, but it could also be the universe, right? It could be the universe keeping score and eventually that karma getting served up on a platter. So there's a lot of stuff happening here, Saji. Please take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And if you made it to this point in reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel and have much love for all my channel members. All right, let's get this going here. What do we got? What is in the shadows for my Sag? And I think this showed up in maybe the Leo reading too as the shadow card. We have a repeat visitor, my friends. Page of Swords, just like this little guy right here. And what was the whole message I was speaking about? The observing, the taking notes. Now, in the positive sense, when this card shows up in the shadow, it could be spirit telling you like, hey, Saggy, think about it, keep track, keep notes. There's just something about not forgetting something. Like, don't forget this, Sagittarius. Like, you got to remember this. That's the positive aspect of it. But remember, this is the watcher of the tarot deck. So maybe in the positive sense, maybe it is spirit watching your back or spirit has your back. But I would say in this time, like you might have more eyes or people paying attention to you than you might think when this is here. It's like somebody keeping score of something and you might not even realize it. Right. And I don't want to say it's like someone keeping score of perceived slights. I'm not saying it's something like that. But I don't know what this observing is. So we're just going to put the page down right there. You do with that what you will, my friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the July subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The July calendar is up and spots go quick, so you might want to check that out. But for the July subscriber surprise, doing another winner's choice, I will choose 3 lucky winners to either choose a copy of the Gilded Tarot Royale, which is one of my favorite decks of all time. It's a must-have or a handmade pendant from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's two simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards that showed up in today's reading, which one spoke to you the most, or jumped out to you the most, or resonated with you. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my posts tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.